So far, we have always said that stress can prevent you from going into labor. And now, all of a sudden, we tell you that stress can induce labor. What's going on? Answers are coming up.
Yes, in this video we are going to share with you under which circumstances stress can induce labor, and we're also going to tell you what kind of foods could also help induce labor.
Yes, and one more thing, in this video, we also lift the secret why remedies like castor oil can help induce labor. This is Natalie, a pregnancy and birth consultant and TCM therapist.
And that's Matthias, a researcher in Science Geek.
And on this channel, we help mummies and their babies naturally and science-based. So let's get started. Alright, so first of all, please note that stress is an extremely complex process in the body, and scientists still struggle to explain what exactly stress does to a pregnant woman. What we do know is that under certain circumstances, stress hormones can hinder labor hormones. However, if stress causes a certain reaction in your body, it can also induce labor, as we are gonna see.
Yes. So in order to help you understand how stress can induce labor and why certain foods can do the same, let us first look at 3 examples of how stress can have a different effect on the body. So imagine that you sit in your car and you're on your way to pick up your child from nursery or from school, okay? The problem is you're already a bit late and you're stuck in a traffic jam.
Yes, so imagine that feeling. You start biting your nails, you tense up, you feel the adrenaline, you may even shout at the guy in front of you, right? Now, what does this kind of stress do to you? Well, you may feel hot, you may start to sweat, your heartbeat may go up, but it's not that you feel like particularly nervous or anxious, right? It's just the kind of stress that we know very well from our daily life. And for some women, this is exactly the kind of stress that can prevent them from going into labor, particularly if it is ongoing stress, right? And so when Natalie treats them with acupuncture and or reflexology at the clinic to help their body cope with that stress, it can be enough for those women to go into labor.
Right. Now let's take a look at another example. Let's say you're 39 weeks pregnant and your doctor tells you, listen, if you don't go into labor by the end of this week, we're going to induce you for whatever reason, right?
Yeah.
Now, for most women, this is going to be a different kind of stress because there are most likely very different emotions involved here. Worries and fears. What if they need to induce me? Will it be more painful? What if it goes wrong, etc.? And unless these feelings trigger a mechanical nervous reaction in your body, such feelings are more likely to prevent labor rather than inducing it.
Yes, so unfortunately, putting that pressure on you often does the exact opposite of what you hope for. And in such cases, it is often not done with an acupuncture treatment to help the body cope with the stress. We also need strategies to deal with the fears and worries, as we often see at Natalie's clinic, right?
Right. Now let's take a look at another example in which stress triggers the kind of reaction in your body which could help induce labor. So let's imagine that you are back to school and you are about to sit for an exam. And let's admit it, you kind of did study for the exam, but you also know that you're not 100% prepared for it. And because of that, you feel very, very nervous. And as always, when we feel nervous, we develop what is called a nervous stomach, meaning that we feel the urge to empty our bowels.
Yes, that's very much me when I was a teenager, so about 5 years ago, right? I was always nervous when I had exams and I spent hours on the toilet. And this is the perfect example of stress which could help induce labor.
Right.
Why is that?
Well, in order to understand why nervous stress is supposed to induce labor, we first need to look into a female pelvis and see what kind of organs we can find in there. We did this already in our last video that we published, but let's just do it again very briefly in case you didn't see it.
Yeah.
So this is a female pelvis, right? This little thing here at the front is your pubic symphysis.
Yes, behind the pubic symphysis is your bladder. And then behind the bladder is your uterus. Just keep in mind that when you are pregnant, particularly when you're close to your due date, then your uterus would obviously be much bigger than what you can see here, right? Anyways, behind the uterus, we can find the colon. And right in between the colon is the small intestine.
Now here is the secret why many natural tools like castor oil or the midwife's brew can often help a woman to naturally induce labor. Castor oil, which is also contained in the midwife's brew, by the way, is a laxative. And when we drink castor oil, it is going to trigger an activity in our intestines. And if that intestinal activity is strong enough, then it could stimulate the uterine muscles, which as a result may start to contract.
Yes, and that's possible because if we imagine the uterus to be larger than on this picture, then we can see that the uterus touches the intestines. And so the location next to each other is ideal for a spillover of any intestinal activity on the uterine muscles. Now, getting back to our nervous stomach, if stress causes a nervous stomach, and if that nervous stomach triggers a strong enough activity in your intestinal muscles, then it's possible that similar to castor oil, it has a spillover effect on your uterine muscles.
Yes. Having said that, if you follow our channel, then you probably know that we always say that natural labor induction is only likely to work if your body is really ready for labor, right? And now you probably also understand why this must be true, because if it were not true, then it would happen that you go into preterm labor just because you're sitting for an exam when you're 26 weeks pregnant, for instance, right? And of course, that normally doesn't happen, right?
Yes. That said, please note that many scientific studies have shown that there are indeed situations in which stress can also cause a preterm labor. However, this is normally only possible in cases of extreme stress, such as a shock or because a woman is suddenly in grief, right? So that's that. At the beginning, we told you that there are certain kinds of foods which could have the same effect on the body as stress and castor oil. In other words, foods which could help you induce labor. And based on the information that we have presented so far, you probably already know what kind of foods could trigger a reaction in your intestine. Well, spicy foods, right?
Right. In fact, this is another question that we often receive. Can spicy food induce labor? And the answer is yes. Absolutely, because it could trigger the same reaction in your intestines that we have explained in this video. But similar to stress, it is only likely to work if your body is ready for labor.
Yes, however, please keep in mind that even if your body is ready for labor, spicy food may still not work for you. Let me give you an example in order to help you understand when spicy food will not help you induce labor. We currently live in London in the UK, and here in London there are a lot of Indian people, and because of that you can obviously find a lot of really great Indian restaurants. They serve unbelievable good food. Now, on one occasion we went to this new Indian place, right? And I ordered the dish that appealed to me. And at the same time there was this Indian family right next to us whose daughter ordered the same dish as I did. The daughter must have been 4 or 5 years old tops, right? Now, we received the food at around the same time, right? I tried a spoonful. Well, that's spicy. Tried another spoonful. That's really spicy. Tried a third spoonful. No, I cannot do it. I started to sweat. I felt really bad. It was just too spicy for me, right? To my embarrassment, the little girl next to us ate the same dish like this. Mommy, that's really good. I like it. Didn't even blink with an eye. No sweating, not a single reaction. Not so in my case. In fact, over the next 3 days or so, our toilet became my best friend, right?
True.
So why do I tell you this?
Well, if you're used to spicy food, then spicy food is less likely to cause the kind of activity in your intestines that you need in order to trigger uterine contractions, right?
Yeah.
And in such a case, it has nothing to do with the fact that your body is not prepared. The problem is simply that your body is used to spicy food.
How can we use what we have learned in this video to our advantage if we want to help the body go into labor? Well, first of all, most women do get a bit nervous at the end of their pregnancy because of the upcoming birth. This can be a good thing as long as your body's reaction to that stress involves a nervous stomach and does not involve an excessive release of stress hormones which interfere with labor hormones, right?
Yes, Because of that, we still always recommend trying to relax at the end of your pregnancy, for example, with yoga or with meditation or acupuncture, in order to avoid that stress hormones gain the upper hand here, right?
Second, if fears and worries play a role in your pregnancy, it can be a good thing to address them with appropriate strategies, for example, by talking about your fears and worries.
Right. And third, we hope that our video helped you understand how we can mimic similar mechanical reactions in your body with the help of spicy food or with castor oil.
Yes. However, please always keep in mind that your body is normally going to react to very spicy food and castor oil with diarrhea, and in rare cases with vomiting. And both should not be taken lightly because it can dehydrate the body. So please be very careful and always talk with your doctor about your plans first.
Right. And finally, please also keep in mind that natural labor induction almost never works if your body is not ready for labor. Meaning that you can spend hours emptying your bowels because of a nervous stomach or because of spicy food or castor oil. It's still no guarantee that you go into labor if your body is not ready for labor.
Yes. So if you have plans to naturally induce labor, the first step should always be to help your body prepare for labor, which we normally do from week 37 of a pregnancy onwards. If you want to know how, check out the video that should now pop up at the top of your video screen. If it does not, you can also find the link in the description below this video.
Right. If you have found this video helpful, we would be super grateful if you could leave us a like or even a comment in the comment section below.
Yes, and for more useful tips and tools on pregnancy and baby related topics, make sure to subscribe to our channel and hit the bell.